Hello again, again.Today, and welcome to another video, and this is actually part 2 of my Nintendo Virtual Console series. Now, last week, part 1 was about the Virtual Console as overall, and this one will be about the Wii Virtual Console. Now, one thing I want to say is I'm sorry, it's been over a week since my last episode. It's worst thing when life gets in the way outside of YouTube. That's just the way it goes, so I'm sorry about that. But, no dilly-dallying, we're back here. And this one, again, will be about the Wii Virtual Console. Now, the Wii Virtual Console, I think, in my mind, was one of the best eras for the service, that Nintendo had made. So much great support, with this, and so many great games that we saw on for the Wii Virtual Console. Now, the service actually did launch with the console, which was good, November 19th, 2006. And it was great to see this sort of stuff happen, because we'd never sort of seen this stuff with Nintendo before. We had seen, re-releases of, some of the old games, the Super Mario All-Stars, which was basically a remaster of the original free Mario games on the NES. But also adding Super Mario Bros. Lost Levels, which is known as Super Mario Bros. 2, outside Japan. And obviously we'd seen, stuff with the, Zelda NES games, the Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time on the GameCube. But this was the first time where you were able to actually download and obviously play old games from different consoles. Now, when the service started, it was just NES and Super Nintendo. But over the years it was there, we got some amazing stuff that appeared on this console. Not only did we get NES and Super Nintendo, but we also got Nintendo 64, Master System, Mega Drive, NEC, TurboGrafx, I meant to say, and Neo Geo. We got a lot of the stuff of the time. And that was a great thing. That's a few days after the Wii had come out. Konami did state that they were bringing TurboGrafx 16/PC Engine games to the Wii Virtual Console, which was a great thing. And the reason being is due to the fact that a lot of us never properly experienced the TurboGrafx, especially if you were in the UK and Europe. Obviously the console did release over here, but it wasn't very mainstream, and not everyone really knew, about it. So this was a great alternative for TurboGrafx games. And obviously, over time, we did get lots of them. The following year, 2008, we got other stuff, with the Master System, and even later on the Mega Drive. And again, this was a great, option, because again, if you didn't want to buy a Master System, you could just purchase some games off here, and there you go. Especially in America, where the console wasn't really mainstream. And then obviously as well for the Mega Drive, because again, it was a great way to play Mega Drive games on something new, which was a nice, bonus. It was really, really good. And then obviously, down the line we got SNK support with the Neo Geo AES, which again was amazing to see that sort of stuff go on the Wii VC. And another thing that was actually interesting was we actually saw a lot of the old Sega games and SNK games. The arcade versions of those games were released on the Wii VC, which is amazing to see that sort of stuff happen. And it was a great thing that Nintendo fans were giving owners of the Wii, because not only were you playing the Wii games on it, but it was also backwards compatible. If you've got just take that off. If you have a Model 1 Wii, it's got the GameCube controller ports as well. Again, there's the memory card ports, which is a great bonus. And to me, it really felt like the ultimate Nintendo console, because again, not only were you getting Wii games, it was backwards compatible GameCube games, and you could also purchase Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo and NES games on it. So it was great. It was a great, bundle for a lot of people. And, I absolutely love it for that. It's just amazing. One thing that was interesting was actually different, ways to play the games. Now, obviously, you've got the standardised, the Wii Remote and stuff, which is, standard, which is good, for NES games. you know, TurboGrafx, Master System, and it really, really feels good, I think, when I'm playing this, because I play a lot of those games. One thing also they had at launch was the classic controller, which is good. Good for a lot of like Super Nintendo games, you know, that sort of stuff, because it just plugs into the Wii Remote, which is pretty cool. But it was great for like a lot of Super Nintendo games. I think it's the way it's, you know, the way it feels, the way it's set out, it's just amazing. I know like Mega Drive games worked well with it as well. There was also the, you know, the Classic Controller Pro, which was just an upgraded version of that controller. Now this is a good controller. I think for me, when I'm playing Super Nintendo games, I love playing it with this controller. It's absolutely amazing. It kind of works well, I think, for Nintendo 64 games, but for me, I think when it comes to like Super Nintendo, this is like the ultimate way, you know, to go. But obviously with the, you know, the GameCube controller, which I've got here, I'm sorry it's a bit battered up. I used to play a lot of GameCube, but anyway, this controller is amazing for Nintendo 64 games. I love it to bits. Now, I know a lot of people might think that's kind of strange to say, but to me, this is like the ultimate way of playing, you know, Nintendo 64 games. All you do is obviously you just, you know, plug it into, plug it into your, you know, your controller, you know, the controller port on there, and, you know, you're playing away, which is, you know, pretty cool. The buttons just feel really, really, you know, nice, you know, great and stuff, and I love it to bits. It feels weird when you're playing Super Nintendo, because obviously the way the buttons are, but it's still a great controller, you know, absolutely amazing. But also one thing that was interesting was, there was a re-release of the Super Nintendo controller in Europe and Japan back in like 2009, 2010. Now I don't have one of those. I'd love to get one, but they're really, really expensive on like, you know, eBay and Amazon and stuff, which is a shame. But one thing that was interesting this year was with the NES Classic Mini, the Classic Edition NES console, is you can actually use the NES controller on the Wii or Wii U, which is amazing, I think, especially for NES games. Now, I've tried the controller on it, and it is amazing, I think, for NES games. And I've even tried it for TurboGrafx and Master System, which a lot of people might think is bad to, you know, use a Nintendo controller on Sega and NEC games, but I just want to try it out, and it's really, really good. I love it to bits. Now, one thing I do want to mention is my experience of the Virtual Console. Now, I didn't try it out when it came out, but the first time I tried it was around like Christmas 2009, New Year's 2010, and I got a few Wii Points cards for Christmas, and I purchased 3 games. I purchased 3 games on it. The first 2 were Super Mario Brothers, you know, on the NES, Super Mario Brothers 2, same NES, and Mario Kart 64. This was the first console that really brought me the first experience of playing Super Mario Brothers. Now, a lot of people might say, well, you know, think, oh, well, you know, I played it on the NES. You got to think, I was born in the mid-90s, so obviously this was a great way for me to play it. And obviously when I first played it, I did I did fail on the first Goomba, but you've got to understand I never played it before, even though I was 15 at the time. But it was a great game, I loved it to bits, absolutely amazing. Mario Kart 64, love that game, because I used to grow up with the N64, fantastic game. But Super Mario Bros. 2, the American European version that we had, I didn't like it first. It felt weird, felt a bit different when I played 1 and 3 when I got the All-Stars on Wii. And number 2 kind of felt a bit like out of place, but I quite enjoyed playing the game. I think it was really, really good after a while. And at first it just didn't click with me, but after playing it I thought, wow, this is really, really good. You know, I loved it to bits, and you know, that is one thing I've always thanked for with the Wii and the Virtual Console, of Nintendo giving me the first experience of the NES and the Super Nintendo, and it was just a great thing that I loved with the Wii. Just absolutely amazing, a great service. And I think with so much Sega support on it, because there was so much great Sega games on here, it was really, really worthwhile, especially, you know, like Master System and Mega Drive, which makes it really, really worthwhile. I think even if you've not played the games, you know, before, it was great. It was a great alternative to save money on it. It really, really was. But also another thing was region exclusive games. Now, obviously, with over time with Nintendo consoles, except for the handhelds going up to the DSi, they've all been region locked. And obviously, you know, it's difficult to, you know, import a game. It might cost a lot of money, and even the systems. And one thing that Nintendo did really, really well with the Wii was they actually included a lot of games that were never ever released outside of certain regions, such as you know, Sin and Punishment on the N64, Super Mario RPG, and you know, others. It was a great way to purchase these games without spending so much. You know, you could, you know, purchase a TurboGrafx game if you wanted to, and it won't cost you a lot of money, and it was a great way for, you know, to do that. And that's one thing I loved about it, that, you know, you couldn't, that didn't happen before, is if you wanted to import a game from, like, for example, Japan, it would cost you a lot of money. You'd have to get the system, an adapter, or, you know, whatever. It would cost you a lot of money. But to do this and save lots and lots of money was a great way for a lot of people to experience these games for the first time. For example, Super Mario RPG was never originally released over in the UK and Europe. So if you had a Wii and you wanted to play Super Mario RPG, you know, go ahead, go nuts and play it. And, you know, that was the thing that was amazing with the system. You know, amazing. And again, I've always given Nintendo credit for this service on the Wii. Absolutely amazing, and it was just great to see so much great support on the console. Absolutely amazing, and I do hope that we get that sort of support again in the future, which would be amazing. And I just hope that'd be really, really good. Now, so far, I think the service is still available. I've not really looked into it since last month. I think if I do, I think for the next video, I will probably do that. You know, I'll say, oh, well, it's still online. It probably will be, but I will just inform you about that. I just want to say thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Part 3 will be about the 3DS. Sorry, I'll try to think then. Part 3 will be about the 3DS, and obviously Part 4 will be the Wii U, and Part 5 will be the new 3DS, and I might be having a Part 6. But I just want to say thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. See you later. Bye.